Is it good to start? Okay. My name is Georgina Garrett. I'm Senior Conservator at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi.
My name is Salam Al-Balushi. I work with the Scientific and Curatorial Collection Management team.
My name is Mariam Al-Bahri. I am Curatorial Assistant at Louvre, Abu Dhabi. This plate actually comes from China, and it was found in the UAE and specifically in Ras Al Khaimah.
This plate was originally excavated in 1977. It was fully restored in that all the fills were filled in, it was stuck together, and it was painted. What happened was that many years later, a member of the public brought in a fragment of the plate that they'd found. And so this fragment that was brought into the museum had to be then incorporated into the plate. So what we were doing was re-restoring it in order to incorporate this missing fragment and keep everything in the object together. When we're undertaking a re-restoration like this, the first thing we want to do is document everything that we have to begin with, in case it's useful later. So it will have been documented in writing and also by photography. Then the next thing to do is to try and understand the adhesives and the filling materials to find out what kind of solvent will work with the adhesive. In this case, the adhesive came down very easily in acetone. And then when the object was taken down and the plaster fills were taken off, they were made in such a way they were quite easily removable. All the fragments were then cleaned of the plaster. The next stage is to assemble the plate, and that was reassembled, again using a glue that will be reversible. And then the next step is to do the fills. The fills were done using a more modern material, not plaster of Paris, but a type of epoxy putty, and it was done in layers. There is an underlying layer representing the body of the ceramic, and then thinner layers of increasingly translucent and finally clear epoxy resin that is colored and then left to be clear, so we can kind of mimic the appearance of the glaze itself.
I participated as a trainee in the conservation of the ceramic plate, more specifically in the removal of the previous restoration, planning the bonding order, and part of filling and retouching process. In general, the aim of conservation is to maintain the physical and cultural characteristic of the object, to ensure that its value won't diminish and it will outlive.
The most fascinating detail about this plate is the fact that it was used in a technique called the swatao. It's named after a port in China, and it is a way of using the brush while painting on ceramic, while it's still slightly wet. And the way that they do that is what we call a freehand style, in a sense that it's not so controlled. We can see where the brush stroke starts, where it ends. We can see ink blobs. So when the artist lifted the brush off of the plate. The collaboration with Ras Al Khaimah National Museum started when we wanted to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of the UAE. Through that, we wanted to showcase artworks from all 7 emirates. This piece was representing the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah. This partnership is important because it gives the nationals a sense of identity to where Louvre Abu Dhabi is situated. But it also is a way to learn about the history of the land for tourists, for residents, visitors, especially students who come very often to the museum. It also highlights the long history of cultural interaction and cross-cultural dialogue that already existed in the country. This artwork is back to its showcase dedicated to the ceramic trade routes within the Middle Ages. And it sits right in the middle. You cannot miss it. So please do visit and rediscover this piece once again.